I'm Kana, and today we're with
Saif.
and Blueberry.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me about you and tell me about photography you do.
Tell you about me. Okay. Well, I'm just a guy. Uh, just a guy, also another guy on the internet taking photos, talking about photos. Um, I've been taking photos for 7, 8 years now, but mostly for me. I don't really work professionally at all. This is my cat. Her name is Blueberry. She's joining us today. Mostly, I'm interested in like documentary and street photography, but I'm down for whatever all the time.
And what camera do you have? What cameras do you have and what do you actually use?
We'll just answer the second part of that question because the first part of that question is a bit of a rabbit hole. I have a lot of cameras, too many, a lot of film cameras these days. But what I use mostly right now, I'm using a Nikon ZF, and I do also use Fuji cameras.
Okay.
Specifically, right now, my other Fuji is decommissioned. That's why I bought the Nikon. But I also have an X100T, which I use, and I've been using that for 7 years. It's a great camera.
Which one's your favorite?
The X100T is my favorite camera, and I would very much like to get one of the newer ones. Not that this isn't enough, like it's a great camera. It's just that sometimes like the battery life's a little bit slower. There's not very good like video. I think if I wanted a better like all-in-one package, I would get one of the newer ones, but they're so expensive and so out of stock all the time that I can't be bothered until mine dies. And I don't think mine's ever gonna die, to be honest.
Oh my god. Okay.
But I don't believe in any like camera like brand tribalism or anything. So for me, like buy the camera that fits in your budget and works for you. Like it doesn't matter.
That's fair. That is fair. And okay, so you do digital and film.
Yeah.
Which do you actually like doing more?
I 100% shoot digital more, and I always have, and I've always been telling all the people because I meet a lot of people who shoot a lot of film here in Ottawa, and I always tell them like I think that it's better to just shoot digital all the time because it's a lot more affordable. And like when I moved here as a student, and I'm not going to spend $1 every time I take a shot. Like,
Oh my
it's not
god.
worthwhile. Obviously, it's not that much. I'm using hyperbole, but like
No, but
regardless, like it's true, right? Like there's a lot of added costs that I can't personally justify. Like if I was rolling in money, maybe I'd do it then because medium format film or bigger formats of film just look so nice. But I personally can't justify it, and I shoot digital day in day out. Like on average, I'd say I shoot like a roll or two a month, which is low because I take way
That's more than what I shoot. And I look at other photographers who shoot film all the time and I'm like, how do you do this? Because I buy like 4 rolls of film. That's already $100 right there.
Yeah.
I get them developed and that's close to $100 right there just for me to take pictures every time.
Yeah, I mean, I save on my costs a little bit. I scan my own film. I don't develop it myself because that's just a lot of time and like stuff that I don't want to put into it. But the labs here are pretty cheap, so I get
That's
shit
true.
off there. I scan it at home, and I just buy like whatever is cheapest in terms of film. I don't shoot a lot of portrait or anything because as nice as it is, I can't justify spending $100 on like a 4-pack when I can buy like a 4-pack for $30.
Yeah. Okay, but what's the reason that you don't shoot portraits? Because you like shoot like street photography and
Right.
like documentary stuff.
Yeah.
And you don't shoot portrait, but what's the reason?
Well, no, it's not that I don't shoot portrait. I would like to shoot portrait, and I do shoot it from time to time. It's just that like I don't spend a lot of time shooting that kind of thing because I feel like when I moved here as well, I didn't really know a lot of people, so it's not necessarily something that like it's easy to do when you don't know a lot of people. And I don't know. It's like when you make friends, the first thing you do, I just didn't think that it was like my kind of thing to like be like, hey, let me take your picture, like kind of thing, like. And
I do that.
that's fair, but I just think that there's like different like just people who do it differently, and like I don't know, maybe I'm just not that kind of person. But nonetheless, I have nothing against portraits, and I've been shooting portraits for a while too. It's just that it's not primarily what I do. As much as I'd like to do it, I like to do it in a more like documentary style. And I find that a lot of people will do more like creative portraits and stuff.
Yeah.
And like a lot of our friends do that kind of thing, and that's great. I'm just not a creative person. I'm just sort of like I see something and I like it's like closer to real life sort of person. So I like to do things in that like documentary way.
I think I really like doing both,
Mhm.
but creative stuff, I feel like there's a lot more work that goes into it, and sometimes, like, it's hard. Like,
Yeah.
let's say I wanna take pictures and I wanna work on a portrait, but I need to, like, build it, like, have the concept, like, have everything ready to go, and that's a lot of work, but if I'm just, like, going outside and, like, taking street snaps, it's so easy, and I'm still able to, like, take pictures, and if I'm waiting on, like, the time to go to portraits when I want to, but I can't do it because I need models,
Mhm.
then I'm not taking as many pictures and I'm not getting better at it as fast as I could. That's why I take street photo like, I do street photography. I mean, I kinda started doing street photography, so I'll always like doing that, but
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's, like, completely different type of photography, I feel like.
There's like styles within styles, right? Like there's
Yeah.
styles within genres of street photography. There's a lot of variety. And to me, like street photography sort of feels like a very pure form of photography. And it's almost like photography for photographers. It's like,
Yes.
because it's like
Yes.
you don't have to be like particularly technically proficient or anything to do it. You just have to sort of see something that seems interesting and take the picture.
Yeah.
You don't have to faff about it. You don't have to think. You don't have to have like the fanciest lens. It doesn't even have to be sharp. It doesn't even have to be in focus. It just has to be there. You know, like a
Okay.
good picture isn't a good picture because like it's super sharp or
Right.
it's like super vibrant. A good picture is a good picture because it either shows you something that you care about or it makes you
Mm.
like feel something. And that it's not like it has to make you feel a specific emotion. It just makes you feel anything. Like if it makes you feel like nostalgia or it makes you feel like, yeah, I can
Yeah.
see this, like this feels real to me. That's enough, right?
Okay, yeah. No, I like looking at, like, other photographers' street shots because it really shows me, like, how they see things, and also I like looking at color grading.
Yeah, that's interesting because like honestly, when I think about street photography, I really don't like to think about it as like something where you are like heavily in the edit because like the edit,
Okay.
but I mean, again, like I'm coming from it with like my opinion on it. And obviously I'm like fully of the mind that my opinion only matters to me and people who respect my opinion. Like my favorite street photography is always just like it looks just like normal. Like it looks
Mm.
like a lot of people shoot it on film, so like it has that like characteristic of
Yeah.
like that specific film stock. But realistically, for me, like most colors I'm looking for are like close to real. Like I'm not saying that like
Okay.
they can't be because there's a lot of variety. I'm not gonna knock on anything. It's more just like what works for you and what you're looking for. And there's lots of stuff that I like that is heavily color graded, and there's stuff that I like that's just quite plain.
Okay. If you were to get an upgrade, lens, body, accessories, or what is the next thing that you are going to buy? Because I know that you buy a lot of stuff.
Well, I honestly, here's the funny thing is like it may seem like I'm buying a lot of stuff, but I actually haven't bought a camera in like 7 years. I mean, like a new
But
like digital camera, right? I mean, I buy like those film cameras that I'm buying for like $10, $15. I don't think that that really counts as like a real purchase, right? Um, well,
tell us how many lenses do you own currently?
I own like maybe 3 or 4 native lenses, and then the rest of them are just adapted film lenses. And like I'd say like probably I have maybe like 10 or so adapted lenses, but most of them like I've accumulated like over years, and like they're quite cheap. Like I bought like 3 or 4 of them for like $5, $10, $15 because I
That's
buy
so
them
good.
at like Valley Village or like garage sales and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And sometimes there's even autofocus lenses that you can buy for like five. I bought an 85 1.8 for $5
What?
for once. So like
What?
you can do it. It's just that like when I come across those deals, I don't really consider that like a big purchase because I'm not,
No.
it's not like in the hundreds of dollars. I am actually right now, I'm just because I bought that Nikon camera. When I bought that ZF, I couldn't even afford to buy one of the lenses for it. So I was just running adapted lenses.
Okay.
Yeah. And then like right now I'm going to go and get myself one of the like the 28 millimeters. But
Yes.
realistically, because I just bought this camera, I don't see myself buying any like upgrades or like even lenses for a while. Because I have the 28, I have the 40, that'll be more than enough.
That is,
Like
yeah.
that's that. But like if I had to pick, like if we're like I think that realistically for me, the next choice in terms of lenses is either like one of those zoom lenses. I know that there's a 28 to 75, 2.8. I mean, like it'd be a nice lens to have like one
Classic
around.
lens.
Yeah, it'd be nice
Yeah.
to have around, but like, you know, those push like that $1,000 margin where like I just don't want to commit to that because I don't need it. And in terms of bot, and like the other way I would go is like if I really want to try some manual focus lenses that are purpose built for the Z mount, and I know
Mhm.
Voigtlander makes some. They're really nice. Will I buy one? I don't think anytime soon.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like for me right now, in the last year, I've had this transformation in my thought process behind cameras. And for the longest time, like every documentary shoot photographer, like I wanted a Leica, but for the longest time I was like, I don't need a Leica. Like it's not gonna like change anything. Only in the last year have I actually realized what makes them a little bit more special than anything else is that they're small, dude. Like they're like this big. Even like the really nice lenses are like this big. And it's like
Wow.
there's no other manufacturer that I can think of that makes lenses and bodies that small with the quality that they obviously I know they're manual focus, but that doesn't bother me. Like the reason I shoot Fuji and I will continue to shoot Fuji, even though I have this Nikon ZF now, is that they make small cameras with small lenses. And that's what I want. For me, like
Okay.
the priority is compactness. So the maximum I can get in terms of quality and compactness and without, you know, paying like a kidney's worth, I would gladly use APS-C. Like I would use Micro Four
Whoa.
Thirds even. I don't,
Whoa.
all right?
Hot
It doesn't
take.
matter to
Hot
me.
take.
It doesn't matter to me. Like it's the only reason I bought the ZF is because I was gonna buy an XT5 and I was like, that's an expensive camera. It's like 2,300 Canadian dollars. And the ZF was just a little bit more, like another 200. I was like,
Okay.
at that point, why not? Because I had the A7 and I was gonna replace it, the original A7,
Yeah.
and I wanted to replace it with something that does better video. And so at the time, it just made the most sense for what I was willing to spend. But if tomorrow I could buy a used XT4 or XT5 for like $1,500, $1,600, I would pick one up in a heartbeat because they're smaller cameras, they're capable cameras.
I see you.
Yeah.
You're not gonna like Sony.
No. I have nothing against Sony. I would have gladly bought a Sony if it fit my price range when I was buying the ZF. It's just that at the time, which was, you know, a few months ago, like 3 or 4 months ago, the Sonys were over 3,000 and the ZF was like 26. And I thought
I see.
if I had to make that jump, it would be like not worthwhile for me because there's a lot of factors for me going into it. I just thought that this was the best option for me given my budget.
Mm.
But if I'd waited a few months and like, you know, you just bought this camera and you bought it like for around the same price that I paid for that camera, maybe a little bit more, but not a lot more. Like I think they probably discounted them like $500 or something since I made that.
700.
Yeah, since I made that
Yeah.
purchase. If it was at the same price, I would have considered it. I just didn't
Whoa.
consider it because it wasn't in the price range. My other competitor was the Panasonic S5 II. Literally nothing matters to me except for the video, like except for the purpose that I'm buying the camera for. I don't own a lot of lenses for any system.
Yeah.
So I have nothing bogging me down of making this decision. There are no bad cameras out there from any of the big brands. Like if you're buying a brand new camera, just pick the one that you think works best for you and fits your budget, and you'll be good. Like this, like sure you can make the argument that Sony has better autofocus, blah blah blah. Sure, it does. I don't doubt that. But if you do you need it?
No, okay. I just feel like if you're good at taking pictures, whatever the camera you use, you should still be able to take good pictures. And
Right.
it should not matter which camera or lens you use. But if you have nice gear, it just helps you achieve to get the results that you're looking for.
Absolutely.
To get.
Yeah, I agree with you in the sense that like I've said this before probably on the Discord, and I'll say it again, is that like the more money you spend, the less work you have to do to get good pictures.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that spending money will get you good pictures.
Exactly.
It just means that it reduces the effort on your part to get the results that you want.
Yeah.
right? Like you can make the same picture with a 28 millimeter lens that you bought for $50 and for your like whatever $1,500 G Master.
Yeah.
It's just that the G Master will have a much easier time. You know, like you might have to do less editing. You might have to like, it'll focus for you. There's bells and whistles in every single of these camera bodies now. Like IAF. I didn't own a single camera with IAF or like what's that? Let's like like sensor stabilization, like in-body image stabilization. I didn't have that for 7 years. I can hold down to 1/15 of a second, man. Like I don't care.
I like, feel like
it's nice to have. I'm not gonna say it's a useless feature. It's really nice to have. It can help you get pictures that you may not have otherwise gotten, but also you can buy a tripod. You know, like there's good and bad. Like, do you have to pay $600 extra for a feature? Probably not. But if you have the money, go for it. I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money. I'm just going to say that buy the camera you can afford. Because if you don't have a camera, you can't take any pictures.
Yeah.
Because if you're sitting around waiting to spend $3,000, but you have like $2,000 right now, it might just make sense. It might just make sense to buy a $2,000 camera.
Yeah.
And then once you've gotten to a point where like you feel like it's actually detrimental to your work, change it up. Like I had to buy this new camera because I wanted to do videos that I couldn't make on my A7, and I feel like that's essentially what it boiled down to for you.
Yes.
Right. So at that point, when the camera physically cannot do that, that's a different case. But for stills, I mean, literally, I bought a $100 camera off of Facebook Marketplace. Shoots great. It's a Micro Four Thirds Panasonic GF2. Fantastic. 16 megapixels. I don't care. That's more than enough megapixels, dude. Like,
I also just feel like if you're shooting just for fun, you don't need to have the best quality camera. Like if you're doing client work, that's different case because they're paying for you to do the job.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you need to deliver good results. But if you're just shooting for fun, you should just have a camera and train yourself to get better at taking pictures. So then when you have it upgrade, you can kind of justify spending that price.
Yeah.
And take better pictures with a better camera and better skills.
Yeah. A lot of people who get into buying a camera now will just get bombarded by like all these features. And it's like, does it take pictures? Yes. It's a camera. Do you need an A7 IV and you're moving up from your iPhone?
No.
Like, do you need it? No. Will you benefit from it? Possibly. Possibly.
You're gonna love it.
Yeah, you're gonna like it. Sure. Like the quality difference is unimaginable. Let's not get into that. Right? Yeah. Like, not like phones are bad. I love taking pictures on my phone, but anytime I want to take a picture I care about, I'm gonna be using my camera. But only because I have a camera. If I didn't have a camera, I would use my phone. Works great.
So valid.
Yeah. I mean, I started taking photos because I bought like a Galaxy S6 in like 2015. And the camera on it was so nice that I was like, shit, I need to buy a camera. And I went to, like, I took a trip. I went on like summer holiday with my parents. And at the end of that trip, I was like, this was really fun. I need a real camera now. And then I bought my first camera, and it was a Nikon DSLR. And I still have it. Still works great. And if tomorrow someone asked me to take like professional portraits with it, I would 100% be able to do it.
Yeah.
Because, and here's the other thing that a lot of people don't really get into initially, is that the lenses kind of matter a little bit more than the camera.
Okay, I've been seeing this discourse a lot that people are saying lenses are important, more important than the camera bodies.
Not more, I'd say like about as equally important. Maybe like in some cases it's like a 60-40, and in some cases like it's like it could go 60-40, it could go 55-45, it could even be 50-50. It's just sort of, it depends. Like, how old is your body, or like what do you need it for? Because like if you're trying to shoot sports, you're not going to have a good time with like a $300 camera.
No.
Let's be honest. When you're shooting things that require like the fastest like autofocus or the fastest readout speed, that's when you need to spend a lot of money buying your body. But you are also probably going to be buying a really expensive lens for that anyway. So like the point is, at that point, you're already hitting like $6,000 territory on buying camera and lens. But if you're just like, you know, starting out and you just want to do just general stuff, like take pictures of your friends, take pictures of like people, you're gonna be fine with like any camera. Like you can buy DSLRs for like $50 used from Henry's,
Mhm.
like that are 20 years old. They'll still shoot great.
Yeah.
And at that point, the lens will be better than the body.
Yeah.
And you buy the lens, like you pick a body in a system that you want to stay in. You buy the lens for that. And then when you get a nicer, newer body, the lenses still fit.
Yeah.
I mean, you,
Get an adapter. I don't know.
yeah, well, you can get an adapter for a lot of things, but like ideally, like
You
if
don't
you
have
if you're
to.
starting now, like just buy it to a mount that you think that you want to use, like E mount, Z
Mhm.
mount, RF mount, X mount, Micro Four Thirds. Pick one of those. Like DSLR mounts are great, but just know that there is like no new ones, right? Like maybe Pentax will make a few more, but no one else is going to make any new DSLRs. So keep that in mind. And unless you're buying something that's got a built-in motor, it's not going to be as useful with like the Nikon mirrorless or the Canon mirrorless because they don't have the motors in the new adapters. So unless you're buying a lens that has its own motor, you're not going to be able to autofocus.
Yeah. Okay. I think we're good.
Yeah.
We talked a good amount.
Yeah.